Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, Gulf Sales and Supply, and Butch Osterlet Autoplex.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Of course, we're joined by my good friend Josh Barton, and Josh, we did this, I think, our first show here in the studio. I don't know if it looks any different. I think we moved the plan a little bit, but I appreciate you coming back over, and we've talked about how we can use this venue, certainly to both promote what we do, but also Home of Grace, because that is certainly one of the key things that we're trying to support here in our local community. So why don't you bring us up to speed what's going on at the Home of Grace? I know we've got a big event coming up, but let's start with that.
Well, we're excited at the Home of Grace. We've got a lot of men and women, of course, for those that kind of background. For those that aren't familiar with Home of Grace, we have a 120-bed men's facility in Van Cleve and a 42-bed women's facility in Gaucher. And we have men and women that come in from all over the country for help. And so it's exciting every week to get to see men and women that come in just totally broken and hopeless, right, and see that transformation start taking place in their life. And as I was sharing even with you earlier, I thought it was pretty cool this week. As a matter of fact, we had a guest speaker in from Indiana, and he travels the country speaking and wanted to come out and share with the men, and he did. So when he left, I gave him a Home of Grace polo shirt, similar to what you have on there, right, just as a thank you. And so when he went out to eat last night at a restaurant, he sent me a photo. He said, my waitress said, "What do you know about Home of Grace?"
Right.
He said, "I spoke there today to the men's group, and she said, next week I celebrate 1 year clean. Home of Grace changed my life."
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to get to be a part of many people's journey like that.
I think that, it's sort of, we've talked about this many times. We both started working there the exact same day. It's been a long time ago now, but, when your father was running the Home of Grace, it had taken up a notch from where Brother Bill was. Now it's just it's on another whole level. And I think both of them would just be like shaking their heads, wow, but to see the Home of Grace changing over the years and to what it is today, which I tell anyone I can talk to, judges or anywhere I'm talking, it's the best place that you could possibly go. Relatively almost cheap is what I like to say, compared to some of the treatment centers that are out there. And time is a big component in any recovery. And so it affords a lot of those things. Tell us a little bit about the program, the length of the program.
So, yeah, it's a 3-month program. And I would say one of the things that we really help focus on with our clients is their purpose. Mm-hmm. And so once we start helping guide them, of course, they go through a lot of, individual counseling, weekly group counseling, classroom instructions, workshops, have morning devotion, evening chapel services. So there's a lot that we pour into them, including GED programs for those that don't have a GED or other work-related opportunities for them. But, when a guy or girl comes to the Home of Grace, as they start going through dealing with their counseling stuff and they start understanding that God's got a plan and a purpose for their life, to be a good husband, a good father, a good mother, a good father, good employer, and they start understanding that and they start working toward that, our counselors help them work through so many different things so they can understand what their purpose is. And that's, individuals that deal with addiction in general are driven, passionate individuals.
Right.
And so when you can help them understand that they're to make a difference and they've got the skill set, God created them specifically with their skill sets to make a difference, they can do amazing things. And that's what's exciting about being a part of their journey.
I think what's so unique about Home of Grace is, like you said, the passion of the people that work there. We're just talking about Cornell. Right. It's coming up on 25 years of being out there. I guess 25 years ago right now, you were at college, just finishing up college. I'm arriving, this coming week, 25 years ago. And, so you can bring this all back And you see those same people are engaged today in the home of grace. But when somebody catches the fire, it's like you can't put it out. And so we've had little fires set up all over the country that seem to, I guess, exponentially making the whole thing about Christian recovery grow. And that's sort of neat to see.
Well, when your life's radically saved and changed, you want to help save and radically save others. And so that's what's really cool, is seeing, like I said, someone's life that gets transformed, and they feel like, man, I want to help other people understand they can come out of whatever I was in. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Right.
And so, watching that transformation take place and watching them pour into the lives of others. I mean, every week that's really cool to see a guy that's there 8 or 9 or 10 weeks wanting to pick up the guy that just came in that week that's still struggling. And he said, man, I was right where you were 10 weeks ago myself, man, you can make it. And so that's really a big part of the journey, is helping others.
I say this all the time, and, I've been involved with recovery a long time now. And, I don't go with the opponent. If you don't have God as the basis of your recovery, you won't make it. I'm one of those that's pretty firm about that. And I've been around a long time now that you have to have that as a base, because if you don't have something to draw on, that strength and that hope of every morning waking up and having a purpose, then, you're in a cipher and you're trying to do this on your own. So I think it is certainly not only key, it's a necessity. And I know you've seen that.
Absolutely. And so, again, without purpose, I just feel like that you're just kind of waffling through life. But when you have purpose, you've got a reason to wake up and a drive throughout the day, throughout the week, to make a difference. And so that's really, again, an area that we really focus on with our program. We feel like that's the most transformational thing that we can offer, is pointing them to Christ and let them understand that they were created for a purpose from the very beginning. And so when they can understand that and wrap their head around that, and that they're not broken and flawed, and, through all the, a lot of people, you can't tell someone that's in the middle of that journey, you can't beat them up any more than they're going to beat their own self up about all the problems and all the things that they've caused. And so they just really need someone that's going to love them and encourage them right where they're at, and to help them get back on the right path.
I know that, the men that are coming through today, the old stigma that it was the old drunk under the bridge, and it was back in the day, but today it is just like your own son, your own husband, or your own wife. And when we bring the men out, people are just astounded, as they get to know them. I know that that's got to be gratifying to you, but as you take the Home of Grace to the next level, that awareness, having events, we have some excitements we're going to talk about on the next segment. The golf tournament's going through the roof. So we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about an event. When is it?
October 25th.
October 25th. So we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about this event right after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back, everyone. And Josh, we were just talking about big events and how the golf tournament literally has started to become something that's sort of a flagship, sort of, you get known for it.
Right.
And I figured that one out when I left Home of Grace. I've said these things can really brand you out there. And of course, we did the Jolly, and of course, Jolly's an offshoot of this event. What a nice gift, and I know that you wanted to present it to the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so grateful for you. Every year, you said y'all have got a plaque for every year for all the years that Home of Grace has had our golf tournament. So we're grateful for what you've done for us with that. This past year was by far our largest fundraising event ever. We raised $125,000 in that one golf tournament, and so we're super excited about that. We had filet mignon from Ruth's Chris and Chick-fil-A breakfast.
Had it going on. It's definitely they do such a great job out there at the Preserve. Chris is really into all that, and again, you've taken it to just another whole level, and I certainly appreciate it. I know our board is fully behind the efforts, and I hope that we've made a little bit of a difference bringing some of our community leadership out there, and
Absolutely.
very excited about the future because as it expands, that's what it is. He touches one life, he goes out, and then others get to know about what may be in their community. But sometimes we just take for granted, like everybody knows where the home of grace is. Everybody knows about it. And I run into people all the time. Now, where is that? And I said, well, how can that be?
Right.
But I think that that's an opportunity.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people that's their first connection with Home and Grace is going to a golf tournament, playing through the golf tournament to see our alumni working the event, alumni on holes.
Right.
And then all the way throughout the the tournament, we've got those banners, those flags that has alumni and their stories on them. And so, we were talking earlier about the face of addiction. And when they see the faces and see the stories, a lot of times it's a lot different than what's in their mind. Generally, if someone in addiction, they think of a homeless person that is just completely wrecked it all. But so many people are struggling that's right there in their circles on a daily basis, and they don't even see it or recognize it.
Now, I know we have a big event coming up. We talked about it on the first segment, October 25th, and a new event.
It's a brand new event. Well, it is new for us. Something we didn't really talk about earlier, but we help replicate Home and Grace in Kokomo, Indiana, called Valley of Grace. So Valley of Grace for the last 5 or 6 years now has put on an event called Dressy But Messy.
Right.
And they've done a phenomenal job with this. And so we're replicating that event down here on the coast on October the 25th. It's Dressy But Messy. It's unmasking the stigma of addiction. And it's going to be a great night. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our alumni will be engaged in that and getting to share some of their stories. It's going to be a 3-course steak meal. But the theme Dressy But Messy involves, if you really want to help someone that's going through addiction, going through tough times, you've got to get your hands dirty.
Right.
You've got to get involved with someone. You can't just kind of help them from a distance. And so that's kind of the theme behind Dressy But Messy is you can dress up, but you really got to get your hands dirty to help someone.
I know that, and I've talked to others that, have followed my path, that you had those people that believed in you and gave you that hand up. They took that chance.
Right.
On you, and that I think we're called to do that same thing. If we've been helped and think that there wasn't a reason we got somewhere, so tried to do that in my life through Trinity House or through working with people. But I see the same thing with others. I was talking to Zach Vaughn the other day. Of course, another graduate, very good friend of mine. And he's just totally committed to his Sunday school class because he's able to work with people and people cross his path. And you just almost like the billboards, pass it on.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's what it's all about.
And early on in that journey, though, it requires a lot of attention. Someone, there's ups and downs, especially in the early beginnings of those journeys. And that's really where you got to come in and mentor and spend time and energy and loving on individuals. And so that's, that really is to get your hands dirty part of it.
Now, we're going to have obviously try to get the Home of Grace on here as much as possible. We're getting finished with this fashion show now that we can have a little bit of time on our hands over the Christmas holidays, which is a big giving time. Try to encourage people to do that, to give around the end of the year where it's tax deductible. And, sometimes we'll get corporations stand up, match monies and things like that. What are some of the things that you would hope to see over the next, say, 6 months to a year?
Well, we're excited. We just launched a new curriculum that really has been exciting among both of our campuses. I talked a little bit about that earlier in terms of how we're focused on our clients, but watching their growth. There's 7 different areas of their life that we watch them grow through the Home of Grace, and then we give them this nice workbook that they work through and then take it with them after they leave. So something that we are excited about, hopefully within the next 6 months, we're going to be looking at doing some outpatient counseling, so actually having some outpatient opportunities for families and individuals that may not even get a chance to come to the Home of Grace, but they're hurting and they're needing some help. Families of those that are suffering also need a voice. They need someone they can hear from. So that's something that we're going to be working on in the near future, maybe the first part of January or something along those lines. Of course, this is a big event. Will take a lot of our attention over the next 4 weeks prepared for this Dressy But Messy event.
As far as, the facility itself out there, the men's home, which I'm so familiar with, my baseball field. I mean, I can still remember jacking a home run. I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Well, the one thing we have fully remodeled is our chapel, and the chapel is kind of the staple of the men's campus, and so we were sponsored. Mississippi Power was a big part of sponsoring that event, and so we've totally remodeled the chapel. It looks beautiful. We still have some things that we're going to be doing in the parking lot, but
I can remember when you and I, this got to be 20 years ago, we were talking about moving the chapel.
Right.
I don't think I would ever do that.
No,
but glad that we didn't.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful setting down there.
Right.
In fact, we were contacted today about someone wanting to come back out there just to remember, that aspect of their program.
Okay, and if somebody wanted more information, I know there are some needs out at Home of Grace. Is there a website that we can direct them to? Or?
Homeofgrace.org. In fact, homeofgrace.org/gala is for that gala event. But also just homeofgrace.org will have any questions about, someone has any questions about getting a loved one into the program or what the program consists of. It'll answer all their questions, and they can feel free to reach out and call us.
I know that it's been a great seeing you get out more into the community because you're coming to more and more events out in the community, and people, they naturally recognize you and they come up and talk, and that's been good for the Home of Grace, to put a face to not only the people that are out there, but the people that are running. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for the invite. Very grateful.
And we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to be right back after a word from our sponsor. Welcome back, everyone. Of course, we're joined by Amanda Ray, and Amanda is our Community Relations Director, Fashion Coordinator, whatever hat we decide to put on your head. You seem to have been able to put it on, handle it well, and this past weekend, I mean, what in the world?
Oh my gosh, wow. That's all I can say. I'm still on cloud nine. What an amazing fundraising event that we pulled off.
I know that you've seen some events, at, the YMCA, you said, man, this is like nothing like the event there. I mean, just
crazy.
It is. It's on a level because you're bringing together so many different people and so many moving parts, and you want it all to come off, and you do the best that you can. You're relying a lot on people that you may not know. You're relying on people coming together even hours before a show to even figure out what they're supposed to be doing. But, I don't know that if I could have penned this thing out that it could have turned out any better. We've never put on an event this size.
It was amazing.
That could come off like this.
Right. It was amazing. I mean, now I know why you call these super events. Hands down, super events, from the nonprofits putting together the silent auction, to the community leaders modeling, to board members being out there helping us, to the guys of Home of Grace and the Duchess Club that were actually being our wait staff and passing hors d'oeuvres and helping with decorations. I mean, it's just amazing who all we bring in the room to come together. It's amazing.
And that's what you're trying to do. You're not trying to promote yourself. You're trying to promote what people can do when they come together, promote giving in your community, whether it be tonight, whether it be sometime other. And it's a very unique concept because a lot of times the nonprofit does have to support themselves, and they're limited in who they can draw from.
Right.
We're drawn from everyone.
Exactly.
And so that's the only thing that limits you is the amount of people you have to put something on. And I think we've pretty much maxed that out, but I learned something every year. And there was a lot of different people in the room, even from the people that did the food, who did the beverages, who did the auction, who did the checkout, who did the modeling, to the boutiques, I don't know an event that has more
moving parts. I know, I agree. I mean, there's just so many people to thank and to be appreciative of for that night. Like you said, I mean, the food vendors that we had several catering services come together instead of one. It was really, we brought the Mississippi Gulf Coast together in that room for Renaissance.
Yeah, and again, I think people see it and appreciate it. You couldn't thank the models and the boutiques more. A lot of positive things on social media. I don't think we'll have any problem with people coming forward next year.
I've already had new people saying, "Hey, I want to model next year."
Right.
So I don't think we'll have a problem with that.
That's generally how this has grown, and again, but right now is sort of a little bit of a time to, hey, let's finish this, take a little bit of a break, maybe a day.
Maybe.
And that sometimes happens, sometimes it doesn't, best intention, but you do need to rejuvenate, and learning that balance.
Right.
It's very important that, having a young family and stuff, sometimes that does take precedent last time I checked.
It does. But I went ahead and I warned my husband those last 2 weeks. I was like, look, honey, love you. I love the boys, but it's going to be pretty crazy with work. And I'm very lucky to have a supportive husband, 2 beautiful children. So everything I couldn't imagine anything going better.
Now, at the end of the event, we were able to present a $200,000 check. Actually, the amount of money is a little bit higher than that, because our auction turned out a little better than I thought. And we just were able to, not only get up on stage and do that, because when we first started this fashion show, I said, if this makes $10,000, I'll be happy.
Right.
Here's something, $200,000. You're now talking at levels that, are just so far up there, and we're not even asking for money. I mean, this is just selling tables.
That's amazing.
That's it. So over the top, compliments to you, compliments to Terry. Terry does a lot of stuff behind the scene that nobody knows about.
Oh, we couldn't do it without Terry. Goodness.
Just obviously, it's got to drive her, and we want to thank these boutiques.
Yes.
I mean, the boutiques are taking time they may have proms coming up, and they're trying to juggle.
Right. And on top of that, as a part of our decorations this year, we had the wonderful idea to let's have mannequins from these boutiques and showcase our boutiques, which was amazing. It really made the room, and it was a way to really give the boutiques some recognition throughout the night, but also added some more work for them as well.
I remember seeing Farrell Ullman himself over there with mannequins before he went into work.
Right.
And that's
dedication.
That's the small business owner who, wants and proudly displays his product, what he does, and then he goes and works for 8 hours.
Right.
And then he's there that night.
Right.
Sitting in a room till 9 o'clock at night. So, again, a lot of moving parts, a lot of people coming together. And I think that, again, you couldn't ask for more, for it to go off better. Duchess Club, you got to give a shout out to them.
Oh gosh, yes, they really stepped up.
20-something, 30 women come together and do something. I don't know.
Right.
It's
and on top of manning the auction, they were kind enough to pass hors d'oeuvres to our VIP section, and help with cleanup and everything. I mean, some of the Duchess, they were there till 11 p.m. with us that night helping clean up. So it's a great group of ladies. I'm fortunate to be a part of that club as well. We couldn't do it without them, and the Men of Home and Grace. They really stepped up that night as well.
And of course, our committee and staff, from Wanda, you can't say enough about, David Delk and Jonathan Brennan.
Oh,
Tasha
they make
McGinn,
the show. Tasha was fantastic. I really thought that having a DJ this year really topped off the event. It set it off. She's so energetic and fun. We had a good time, and I know David and Jonathan had a great time as well.
Yeah, and they certainly have seen this a lot, but they also bring their expertise into the room, and you can count on them to be professionals, step up, and do whatever is asked of them. Again, I was watching the faces, being able to see it from a different angle, and watching people out in the crowd, and they generally happen to have I think just a different time, something they're not used to. A lot of times we'll do something and it's very predictable how the night's going to go. This wasn't. When you got a pig coming out on the stage, when you got a dog coming out, when
you've got dance routines. Right. I mean, oh my gosh, over the top.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, we certainly want to thank you for coming on and giving us this little update today.
Well, thank you.
We certainly want to appreciate everybody's support of the Baco Foundation in South Mississippi. Again, Renaissance Runway, we're going to stamp it an A, no doubt about it. And we look forward to further events where you, the community, help us provide the impossible. Until next time, this is Todd Pritchard and Amanda Ray saying so long, and may God bless.